Ho, ho, ho! Welcome back to the reaction. Manchester United 2, Manchester City 0. Let's get it
Look at
going.
this
I'm
guy.
absolutely buzzing. Let's go United. Dougie Critchley's joining me today for this reaction. Doug, start. Thoughts on the game, mate, from a neutral perspective, firstly.
Well, I can tell, there's no surprise you're so happy. I thought it was a magnificent performance from United, to be honest. I thought Ollie got his tactics completely spot on. I thought that high line was really brave, but it made the space that Man City had to play in very limited. You were awesome I thought first half, you were sort of riding your luck at times, particularly after the first sort of 10 minutes. But no, second half you came flying back into it and were deserved winners, to be honest. I don't think Dean Henderson was tested too much. Sterling obviously missed that great chance with that cross as well. But United could have scored 3 or 4, to be totally honest. And it was just a great victory for Solskjaer, his tactics, and a lot of his selection as well, because Anthony Martial had a fantastic game up front. I mean, you must be absolutely buzzing, Joe.
Oh, absolutely buzzing. Look, I'm already seeing the chat waking up. Let's get the chat involved because people are absolutely delighted if they're a Manchester United fan. And if they're not a Manchester United fan, then obviously they're winding me up. But you know what? I'm absolutely here for it today. You're not going to spoil my mood today. By the way, we are doing this from home. Sorry about the camera sometimes jumping in and out. Get over it. It doesn't matter. As long as you can hear us, that's all we care about. Because Manchester United today were fantastic. They were probably the best I've seen them this season against the top 6 side. Because it's been well documented, hasn't it? How poor Manchester United have been against some of the top 6 sides, and how poor the likes of Bruno has been against some of the top 6 sides. But I'm not being funny. Today it was spot on from front to back. Fred and Scott McTominay, not the best on the ball, but they don't half demolish teams in terms of just pressing them and kicking them and fouling them, being annoying in that midfield. The back line was pretty good. And the key man you just spoke about then, how good was Anthony Martial today? Anthony Martial was unbelievable today.
Except for that miss.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the miss, let's not speak about the miss because the miss was an absolute disaster. He's just got to roll it into the other corner and it's a tap-in basically. But other than that, he was just brilliant. And it's been a long time coming because I feel like Dukes, he's had quite a down season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really, really difficult for him. I think his finishing's been way off and that sort of off the ball energy you normally get with him, his ability to beat men. He's just suffered in all aspects of his game. He's really lacked a lot of confidence. And Edinson Cavani, who many people didn't really believe what sort of impact he'd have in the Premier League at his age, with his experience and his years under his belt, been a phenomenal pickup from Man United and made Martial look second best all season. He's obviously had his injury issues as well, Martial, but he led the line verbally today. I thought you were so dangerous in transition, and City just couldn't cope with that pace in the front line as well. The only downside being that Rashford injury, which looked a bit of a nasty one on his ankle. But I thought Luke Shaw was absolutely magnificent. His goal, he took it brilliantly. And yes, you got fortunate in that they gave away a very sloppy penalty in the first minute, but you completely deserved the win. And Solskjaer has now won, I think, 4 out of 8 games against City since taking charge, losing 3. And he's only not got a positive record against Arsenal in the top 6. Fantastic record against Chelsea as well. Liverpool, it's even, got a positive record against as well. So he is a magnificent big game manager, he's proving to be, and proving doubters like myself from a couple of years ago completely wrong. Like, another fantastic display at the Etihad, where I think City have only won one of their last 5 games. I think that popped up on screen. One of their last 5 games against United, I should say.
Yeah.
At some stage. So massive credit to Solskjaer. What a win.
Yeah, man. I totally agree. Solskjaer got it spot on today. I think some of the injuries actually probably helped him make up his mind towards a certain way, like not being able to select Cavani, probably the reason Martial started. And Martial gave us that ability to stretch Manchester City so well. Dan James, I have to put some plaudits on Dan James' name as well, because he continues a really strong resurgence in this Manchester Manchester United team. Been very, very impressive for sort of the last 4 to 6 weeks, I would say, for Manchester United. He's not the most technically gifted footballer. If you're expecting Lionel Messi on the ball, you're not going to get it from Dan James, but he guarantees you work rate. His off-the-ball movement is really, really good, and what he does give is cover for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. When players try to double up on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Dan James is usually there in support. I have to say I was a little bit disappointed by Man City today. I feel like maybe because KDB's coming back to fitness, he's still a little bit rusty. The first half, he was shot to bits. I thought KDB was all over the place, giving it away in really poor areas, just a little bit sloppy on the ball. And overall, it just didn't feel like the usual Man City side that's just totally ridiculously dominant. Like, there was periods, wasn't there, where they were obviously incredibly dominant on the ball. But overall, I felt like Manchester United, even in periods in the second half, were able to get hold of the ball and just go, okay, we're just going to calm it down now. We're just going to calm it down. We're going to settle the nerves down. We don't always have to play counter-attacking football. So yeah, I was really, really happy with that Manchester United performance. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Everything went right today because even Liverpool lost, Dukes.
Yeah, Liverpool were shocking against Fulham earlier, but I want to give credit to Fulham as well for that win. They were awesome, and Anderson and Tosin at the back continue their magnificent relationship. But yeah, I agree about City. I thought Kevin De Bruyne, it was the poorest probably in playing for City in quite a while. He is coming back from injury as well, but there'll be people, it's easy to say in hindsight, but could Phil Foden have started that game as well? Made such a difference when he came on. I thought he really energised City's play. He's got a fantastic ability to speed up the tempo, and he's played really well in the big games this season as well, particularly again, I think it's Arsenal and that awesome display against Liverpool at Anfield as well. And then Bernardo Silva as well. Could he have started? He's been in great form as well. But I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight because when I looked at that City lineup, I thought it was a magnificent composition of midfield: Gundogan, De Bruyne, Rodri. And then could you drop Riyad Mahrez in the form he's been in recently? So it was pretty much a full-strength City side, and United more than held their own, and they created numerous chances, not just in transition as well, but keeping hold of the ball. And compared to that display we saw at Old Trafford earlier the year, when it was 0-0 and both sides looked dreadful, and against Chelsea around the same time for United, United have put together two pretty good performances against Chelsea away from home last weekend, and against City away from home this weekend, in between a terrible game against Palace. So it's still the inconsistency.
The thing is, everybody's inconsistent, isn't they? Like, nobody's actually able to put together any consistency. I think mainly down to the tiredness. Like you mentioned earlier, that Rashford injury, that's a bit concerning for me because he is one of Manchester United's key outlets. He's obviously been playing through this serious shoulder injury as well, so he needs to have surgery on that at the earliest opportunity, but we just can't afford to lose Rashford for like 6 weeks, so I'd imagine that will probably happen after the Euros now. Let's get some questions then from the watchers at home. I know the screen's jumping about. I apologise, it's my dodgy internet. I can't do anything about it. We're trying our best here. Let's get some questions then. Do you agree that Shaw, Lindelof, AWB and Martial were potential man of the matches? I would have given it to Martial as well. But yeah, hats off to Lindelof and Maguire today. Also, bit of praise for Dean Henderson. Thought he looked quite comfortable back there. Looked very commanding from the set pieces. Never really tested to the point where he was making extraordinary saves. But what he does definitely give you that De Gea doesn't is from corners and from free kicks and whip balls in, he does dominate his area a lot better than De Gea. Although De Gea is probably still the better shot stopper. So it's nice to see him growing into it. But I would have also given it to Martial. Would you, Dukes?
Yeah, I think Martial was probably the standout performer. I thought Shaw was magnificent. I hope that knock that he picked up in the second half wasn't that serious as well. He carried on, but hopefully that's not too serious because he needs to start for England at the Euros on this form. He's been far better than Chilwell in the last couple of months. He's been absolutely awesome. I'd also give a shout out to Wan-Bissaka as well. I think Gary Neville mentioned it in commentary, but his clashes against Raheem Sterling, it is box office stuff every time because you just know that Sterling's obviously going to come away with it a few times. It's going to be pretty even. But I thought Wan-Bissaka more than held his own against one of the most dangerous attackers in the Premier League again. He is just fantastic at that part of the game. Obviously, still needs to offer far more going forward in games like away at Selhurst Park on Wednesday. But as a one-on-one defender, there's not really many like him in Europe. And I thought he was awesome once again. But yeah, Dean Henderson started that counter-attack for that Shaw goal as well. I thought he was going to get the assist for a second, but of course there was that 1-2 with Rashford as well. So no, really pleasing display from so many so much of that United display, and McTominay as well. So much energy in that midfield. And a perfect complement with Fred for those bigger games as well. So Solskjaer, massive credit. I thought everyone for United was really good, and it was great that Bruno finally got that goal against the top six opposition as well. So all those naysayers on Twitter can just shut up. Exactly.
Do you know what I found really impressive as well? I think Gary Neville said it in commentary, was that was the same team, other than I think it was Hendo and Bruno, that played against Manchester City last season. Like, there really hasn't been any outstanding transfer additions in the summer that have come in and really made a massive difference to United. And there's still been clear signs of progression within the squad. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves a lot of credit for that, because it's effectively the same unit. It's just playing a slightly different way, especially with the wide men. And Martial today actually was asked to hold the ball up a little bit more. But yeah, a lot of people in the questions here. Abdullah Mustafa says, who do you think is better, De Gea or Dean Henderson? That's a good debate at the moment. Dougs, who would you start as number one if you were Ollie?
I think Dean Henderson, we'll see how he goes in the next couple of games, but he made a magnificent save from Van Aanholt at the end of that game against Crystal Palace. He held his own today, he was very comfortable as well. Not, no outstanding shots as shot stopping as you said, but was more than comfortable. I'd give him a run in the side, and I put it on Twitter this morning. It's probably not a priority for United, but De Gea is on £375,000 per week. He's the highest paid player in the Premier League. He's turning 30, and his performances since 2017-18, that magnificent season, I don't think are probably good enough for Man United if you want. So it's not a priority, but I would think about selling De Gea this summer, potentially bringing in another keeper, or giving Dean Henderson a run as number one, because I think he deserves it on the basis of that display today. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely be considering Dean Henderson for an extended run in the team. I think he's going to get it. Obviously, De Gea is off for personal reasons at the moment. And look, Dean Henderson is probably going to try and take this opportunity with both hands and run with it. I think he's been pretty good in every game I've watched him, bar maybe the Sheffield United one, where he obviously dropped that absolute whiffer. But these things happen, as a young goalkeeper. Going back to his old side, he was probably a bit nervous. It was in the first sort of 5 to 10 minutes, wasn't it? I'm sure he's got over that now, and I do think he looks extremely commanding for his age back there. I've been very, very impressed with him. So I would also go with Dean Henderson. Kevin DeGante says, is Raul Jimenez a good fit for Manchester United? I don't think United will be interested in Raul Jimenez. I just think we'll be after a slightly younger profile of striker, although striker for sure is going to be a position we target come this summer. I do believe that United are going to try to go in for either Haaland or Sancho. It's going to be one of the two. And look, to be honest with you, it's probably more likely to end up being Sancho. I just think Haaland, Dortmund will do all they can to hold on to him, Dukes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I put it on Twitter the other day. I don't think they're going to get in this sort of superstar manager that they've been waiting for since Tuchel's departure and Marco Rosa, and then sell both Haaland and Sancho in the same window. Particularly if they make Champions League football, which, albeit on that display yesterday against Bayern, they got sort of dominated in that second half. I still think they'll make the Champions League, just about. And if they do that, they'll start a new era under a new manager, and they'll want one of those superstars still at the club. So I think Sancho will be the far easier player to get this summer. And I actually think Haaland's going to stay at Dortmund for another year and then leave when that release clause becomes active in 2022.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because obviously United are desperate for that striker issue to be solved, and Cavani, a younger Cavani, to be found effectively. But I do think that at Dortmund, Erling Haaland, when he has players like Sancho around him that can really put it on a 5-punch for him to tap it in, because he does score a lot of his goals sort of within that 10-yard zone, then that is a player United would be missing if we got Haaland. So United are still going to be interested in Sancho. Dortmund are going to be fully aware that they're not going to get £120 million in this current market, especially if they don't get Champions League, especially if they don't get any fans back in the stadium in Germany. And United might be able to get him for closer to 70 million, which I think would be a fantastic fee for Manchester United to pay.
Awesome.
But the issue will be at the other end, because even though today they were pretty impressive, Dougs, you still think Lindelof and Maguire, they're going to look for an upgrade in that centre-back department?
I think they should. I mean, you could at least, see what's out there in the market. I saw links this weekend with Edmund Tapsoba, who's the centre-back at Bayer Leverkusen. He's a really young centre-half. He's only played there since January 2020. Made a massive difference for Bayer Leverkusen. He's only 20, I think, or 21, so he's still got a lot to learn. But he's 6'4", really commanding centre back, very good passer on the ball, like exceptional passer on the ball. So if they brought him in, or someone of that sort of stature as well, I don't think they're going to spend 40, 50 million plus on that player and a forward. I think it's going to be one or the other this summer. And I'd probably try and prioritise a centre-back, to be totally honest. But I think they're more likely to go for Sancho. So we'll see what sort of materialises. But yeah, Sancho and Tapsoba, or a similar sort of young, up-and-coming centre-half, would be a magnificent window from United. And hopefully establish themselves as the second best side in England, because it doesn't look like Liverpool are going to be back in the reckoning anytime soon, to be honest. Even when they get their players back, all their squad are just completely devoid of confidence. The only player that's had a pretty good consistent season is Mo Salah, and he hasn't scored in quite a while now either. So it's really worrying times for Liverpool, and United have to capitalise on this period.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I watched probably 60% of that Liverpool game against Fulham today, and there's so many problems there. There's so many problems.
No part of their side is working.
For Liverpool at the moment. And it's a long road to the top four now for Liverpool, I think, Duke. Is that 7 or 6 or 7 losses at home in a row at Anfield?
6, yeah.
And I just think if you're Klopp, it's like, get through the season. My issue would be, if I was a Liverpool fan, Champions League money this season is going to be more important than it's ever been before, because they have no matchday revenue coming through the door. Liverpool, as we know, don't have the huge backers of Manchester City or a PSG or a Chelsea. So they'll be reliant on fees from things like the Champions League. And to miss out on the Champions League, it'd be a disaster, an absolute disaster if you're Liverpool right now, Dukes.
Yeah, massive. I mean, I was just looking at the table just now. If Arsenal win their game in hand, they'll be 2 points off Liverpool. Arsenal were set to be relegated early this season. They were playing so poorly. So for Liverpool to be that close to a team like Arsenal, who have put pretty underwhelming season, just shows how terrible they've been. I put on Twitter, I think they've taken 5 points out of a possible 21 since Christmas against sides in the bottom 7. They've lost to Southampton, Burnley, Fulham, and one other side, Brighton, all in the bottom 7.
And you would never have said that
commanding
before.
Whatsoever. No, and this Fortress Anfield completely gone. 4 years of build up to it, and it's just been demolished in the space of 2-3 months. No their side is working well at the moment. The forward line, the midfield composition today, the back line as well. Obviously, the back line's had major injuries, but they're just so devoid of confidence. And Alan sticky spell as well. Obviously, you don't want to criticise him too much because he's had such a recent personal tragedy as well. But Nico Williams was playing at right back today, and I didn't think he was Premier League ready whatsoever. And they just really struggled to create anything of note. Obviously, Alphonso Areola made an exceptional save from Diogo Jota in the second half. But other than that, Liverpool were pretty toothless, and they don't seem to be working for each other in the same way that they had 2-3 years. When a player is on the ball, there used to be so many options. In behind, everyone was moving. There was fluidity in their play, whereas now it's just so pedestrian and they can't get anything going. And it's a really troubling time to be a Liverpool fan. They've been a shambles, to be honest, since Christmas.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I would be concerned, Liverpool fans, if you're in the chat, let us know what your thoughts are. There's lots of Manchester is red going on right now, and I have to say, right, I'm absolutely buzzing about it. I can't really say too much more. We've spoken quite a lot about the game so far, but if you have got any questions about Manchester United or even Manchester City, let us know what they are in the comments below, because I feel like today wasn't a massive day for Man City anyway, even though they'll be gutted about the result. They're walking the league title. They're going to win the Premier League. They're going to be fully focused now, I'm sure, on the Champions League. And Manchester United, a loss at home to them, obviously it stings with the fans, probably more so than anything else. But equally, if you just put it into a bit of context, I wouldn't be sort of kicking up too much of a stink at any of the players or losing my head too much. I just think that Manchester United played very well. Manchester City had a bit of an off day, because it's almost like the perfect kryptonite, Man United, to this Man City team. Man United just want to play on the counter-attack, don't really want the ball. They're going to hit you with pace and look to expose you like that, and that's exactly what Manchester City do. So I have to say, hats off to Ollie. Pep, don't worry about it too much. A few people in the comments saying United need a defensive midfielder. Yeah, probably, but I think it'd be a lower priority than a centre back or a forward. Martial was great today, says Fat Man. Yes, I do indeed hope he keeps going. Although, how big was the miss? Like, just tap that away, 3-0, game over. Just roll it into an empty net. It's not even a hard chance. It couldn't have been
easier as well, because the defenders, for some reason, I can't exactly remember the build-up, but there's no defender near him, and the defenders hadn't really realised that he was through on goal, and he just shot straight at Ederson.
Well, it was Scott McTominay, wasn't it? And it was a foul, and the ref played advantage when it could have just been brought back for the free kick.
That was it, and they all switched off.
Everybody switched off, and he's just in. And the finish was just painful, and that moment sums up Anthony Martial. Does so many brilliant things, but just let down by the key moment. Even though last season it felt like he was going to really progress, because I think 23 goals, something like that, 17 in the Premier League, his best season in a Manchester United shirt. This season has been such a heavy step back. I do not care says, what trophy would you prefer, the Europa League or the FA Cup, Joe? I would prefer the Europa League, I think.
Really?
It'd be pretty close between the two. I'll take any silverware at this point. If Manchester United finish top four and win a trophy, and we finish with more points than we took last season, it's been a serious season of progression for us, just because none of our summer transfers have really worked. I guess Cavani, you could say, to a point, but he's also been heavily injured, hasn't he? I think he's only scored sort of 4 or 5 league goals. Telles has improved, sure. Is that like a positive characteristic? I suppose it kind of is.
He's made his opponent. He's made
but
his rival better.
I'm sure Man United will look to address slightly better than they did last summer, this summer. Dukes, which trophy would you be targeting if you were Ollie?
I'd probably go for the FA Cup, to be honest, because United haven't had that much success in it recently. They obviously lost that Hazard final in 2018. I think you last won it in 2016, which is quite a long time for Man United to go without an FA Cup. And it's been so, the Cups have just been so dominated by Man City recently. So I think a FA Cup would be great. A Europa League as well. I'm really excited about that clash with AC Milan. Which I think the first leg's on Thursday.
Yeah.
AC Milan have been brilliant all season, but they have gone through a bit of a dip recently, although they did get a win against Hellas Verona today, playing Man United at the right time. But yeah, two very good sides. And I hope that an Italian side gives a good account of themselves, because people were pretty let down with Real Sociedad's display, particularly in that first leg as well. And I personally, I love European football, and this reputation as all other leagues being awful against the Man United side, who do have issues themselves. So hopefully it'll be a good tie.
I'm sure AC Milan are going to be better than that Sociedad side, because even Sociedad in the second leg were much improved. I don't know. I haven't watched too much AC Milan, Dukes. After you said you've probably watched more than me this season. Are they the sort of team that are going to want possession and United can counter attack on? Because that's all we want.
They actually play in a slightly similar style. Obviously, they play mainly around the focal Zlatan, but they're not a massive possession heavy side.
Zlatan either, he's injured.
Oh yeah, of course, he's injured as well. But they've got pace on the break, and Rafa Leao and Ante Rebic. The main threat is Theo Hernandez, who's probably been the best left back in the world, along with Alphonso Davies this season. Just this season, he's been exceptional. So he's the main threat for AC Milan, and it will be interesting to see whether Fikayo Tomori continues in central defence. He had a great game the other day against, I think it was Lazio. And he's been a massive step up on Roman Noli, who's going through a bit of a dodgy time at the moment. So, yeah, hopefully Tomori plays well against his previous rival winning the Chelsea.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that one. It has to be said. It feels like a Champions League game, really, being played in the Europa League, AC Milan versus Man United. Although it's just annoying, it's like 5 o'clock on a Thursday, which isn't ideal, but there is some big games coming this week, so we might do a few watch-alongs. Right, we'll do like another 5 minutes of questions, then we're canning now. I want to go and enjoy my Sunday. So if you've got any questions, we'll do like a quick 5-minute fire round in just a minute. Bang them in the chat right now. Kashara Saxena says, Grealish to United, ? Dukes.
I'd love it. I think it'd be awesome. I feel like he's ready for a Champions League level club. See the difference in Aston Villa without him. They were very meek again yesterday against Wolves. They struggled in 2 games before that against was it Leicester as well. So yeah, Grealish makes a massive difference. But to be honest, he doesn't necessarily suit United's needs that much. I could actually see him as in they don't really need a left winger in the same way you need a right winger. I mean, maybe you play him on the left and move Rashford over to the right.
No, God, no. Can't do it.
Really?
Rashford on the right is just a disaster.
Oh, I don't mind him on the right, but you've watched more of them there. But I feel like Grealish needs a move. It's the right time for him. I think it's the right time for Villa. If they get 50 million plus, 60 million plus, then Grealish should definitely take the chance, because his career is short, and while he's now establishing himself in the England squad, he needs to be playing at the top level, because that's what his talent deserves.
I'd obviously take him every day of the week. One of my favourite players in the Prem, but I also agree. I think it's a very tough ask for Man United to go in and get him. It's going to cost 100 million odd, isn't it? I think it's going to be a really, really difficult one. Omar says, can Bruno win the Golden Boot?
I don't know how far he is behind off the top of my head.
I'm pulling it up now. Let me get it. I think he's level.
Okay. I mean, Liverpool, not really Salah, have been dreadful recently, not creating a lot of chances, and Salah's not looked his absolutely best in the last couple of games as well. Didn't think he was great against Chelsea. Didn't think he was great against Fulham either. So he's not hitting form at just the right time. And Bruno just destroys.
So Bruno's
every
one
other
behind.
side.
So Bruno's on 16, 10 assists, and Salah's on 17.
Yeah, I mean, it could well happen. It could well happen. Bruno's so consistent against sides outside the top six. Amazing, regular point scorer in my fantasy team. Absolutely love the guy. But to be honest, I think he should win Player of the Year either way. I'm not too bothered about whether he wins the Golden Boot. I think he's a consistent player this year.
Yeah, I think he'll probably finish on like 20 goals, 15 assists. I don't think he'll win the Golden Boot. I think he'll probably finish second. Salah will eventually find his feet, and he just, if he scores 5 goals across the rest of the season, Salah's going to win it on 22. I don't see like Bruno hitting those heights, and obviously Kane, he's only on 14 at the moment, but Kane can just, out of nowhere, Kane can score 3 in a game and then be right back into it. So I wouldn't discount him either. And then like Bamford, Calvert-Lewin, I think it will be between Salah, Bruno, and Kane. All right, what other questions have we got sent in? Rafinha to United, says James E. Christopher. Thoughts, Dukes?
I love Rafinha. I've been really impressed with him, to be honest. I think he's been a revelation, to be honest. Apparently, he was quite unhappy that he was going to Leeds originally, because they promised they wouldn't sell him, this is. But he's turned up at Leeds. He's made a massive, massive difference. He's got all the tricks. He works incredibly hard. He's got great weight of pass. His vision's exceptional. Again, it's probably not... He seems to play more in central areas than that sort of winger that United are necessarily looking at, because you do need to sort out that right-hand side a bit, because you should, in theory, be easy to stop, because you just attack down the left with Shaw and Rashford, and they have got a phenomenal link-up. They've got a great relationship. But if you had a dual threat on the other side, because Wan-Bissaka just doesn't back himself to beat a man, and Greenwood loves inside and is just a natural striker rather than a winger. So a right winger would be great. And Rafinha, he'd be a great squad player to have, and a step up on Dan James as well. So I like it, but I actually can't see that happening either. I mean, could you, Joe?
No, not really. Again, I think Leeds would demand a massive fee just one season after signing the player, unless there's something in his clause, in his contract, that says that he's allowed to leave for a team in the Champions League or something like that. I just don't see Leeds wanting to sell him. He's probably their highest valued asset, alongside maybe like Calvin Phillips. And it's easy to see why. When you watch him, you can see he's an incredibly talented player. But yeah, I don't see Manchester United going for him. Again, I just think United are going to go back in for Sancho, even though the talk's like, oh, it's cooling down, the interest is cooling down. That just feels kind of like those sort of feelers that are put out into the press, the same way feelers are put out into the press. Oh, United are really interested in Sancho, just to try and get the price down. So I don't see that one happening. JJ Chang says, prediction for United versus Milan then? There's also Rory Blessington here, who says, do you think Man United will fail to solidify the defence? If they go for them, that's Sancho and Grealish, no CBs or DMs are coming. Also, should Allegri replace Ollie? Get in the bin! Ollie's just demolished Pep. What are you talking about, Rory? I'm sacking your whole question off. So what do you think United Milan's score will be? Duke's prediction.
I think United will go through. They've got more quality than Milan throughout their attack, at least, and they're very difficult to prevent. Scoring at least a couple of times over 2 legs. United, they've got a lot of firepower. I think only City have now scored more goals than them in the Premier League. It's just that defence that lets them down on occasion. So go United to go through 3-1 on aggregate across 2 legs. What about you?
I think it will be very, very close. United have a tendency to bottle these sort of games in cup competitions. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think, to be fair. I do think that no Zlatan helps United quite a lot, because United would have just guaranteed Zlatan scores against United, like coming back to bite them. The one thing I will say about having Zlatan up front and not a slightly pacier style of forward is it does play into the likes of Harry Maguire's hands a little bit more. They can play a slightly higher line, and that's what Harry Maguire wants, is that physical battle against someone further up the pitch, not having to turn and run in behind to try and catch a pacey winger. So, I think it's going to be very close. I'll go 1-1 first leg, and United's go through 2-1 overall. I think it'll be quite tight. Do you ever talk about clubs other than the big four, Travis says? Yes, of course we do, Travis. I think on today's episode of Sunday Vibes, we focused on Wolves, Leicester and Southampton. So just relax, would you? Although it has to be said, that was on a team that could collapse totally. And now I'm looking back at it and thinking, why didn't we just talk about Liverpool? Because Liverpool are in utter free fall right now.
Yeah.
All right then, we've got 4 minutes left worth of questions. I saw somebody ask, should they have a steak or a korma for dinner? I feel like a korma on a Sunday. It's also a korma.
What a treat! Go for a steak. Definitely.
Yeah,
treat yourself.
definitely. Who the hell is eating kormas? Number one, and who the hell is eating kormas on a Sunday?
2 quite weird options, to be honest. I like. Where's the sort of consistency between that? They're either in a curry mood or a big bit of protein. I'd go steak every time though.
Yeah, definitely. Quite a lot of people, including Who Got the Rico, want us just to do a quick Spurs versus Palace prediction as well, Dukes. Have you got any shouts for that one?
Yeah, I mean, Palace have been pretty lucky recently. I mean, they were pretty resolute against Man United on Wednesday. They were very fortunate to beat Brighton. Was that the game before then?
Yeah.
You know, Spurs looked magnificent against Burnley, although it does help when you're playing Burnley and score 3 goals in the first 25 minutes, was it? And scored within the first couple of minutes as well. So yeah, I'll be intrigued whether Mourinho sticks with this Dele Alli, Bale, Son, Kane front four, because they need to go for it, to be honest, Spurs, because this is a very winnable game. They're not good enough defensively to not go for it in most games, or at least play Mourinho's style of play. So yeah, just go for it, shackles off, and get attacking Palace, who are still without Wilf Zaha and don't really have much threat.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it'll be comfortable for Spurs tonight. I reckon 3-1, maybe 3-0. Pretty comprehensive Spurs performance, and I think that'll be enough for them to jump above Liverpool in the table if it gets. It will. I'm right, so Jose will be absolutely delighted about that. Jose's just going to focus on pushing that top 4 as hard as he can. I don't think they're going to get in it, but if he finishes 5th and wins the League Cup, he'll have enough PR gravitas to say that's been a very solid season.
If they win tonight, they'll be 2 points off Chelsea in 4th.
Yeah, and Chelsea have got Everton tomorrow as well.
Chelsea have Everton, which could go, obviously could go either way, but Everton seems to. I cannot predict Everton this season. No. They are sometimes woeful, they are sometimes incredible. Like there's no consistency, but yeah, I Tuchel though, at least
Chelsea.
Like
Tuchel's very, very good at the moment. Like Chelsea are playing brilliantly at the moment, so I think Chelsea are going to finish comfortably in the top 4. I would be surprised if they slump from this position outside of the top 4. So Spurs, it is a bit of an uphill battle, but never say never. All right, let's wrap it up there, Deuce. We're ranting about other stuff. So that's it for another episode of The Reaction. Up the Manchester United. Come on. Is there anything you want to plug, Deuce? You got a UCL review? Oh, I mean an ERU, sorry.
Yes. UCL reviews were back this week, but we just dropped an EFD explained on how Steven Gerrard destroyed Celtic. Then we actually dropped it just as that final whistle went in the 0-0 draw against Dundee United, and it's got off to a very good start. So go check that out. Very good script by Michael McCubbin and edit by George Wright.
Yeah, love it. Christopher Hamill absolutely rage, and also go and watch Sunday Vibes. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. See you later. Bye. Bye.